the job site has in store. That's why the Home Depot app is made for pros who don't miss a beat. So you can power your jobs with rentals to get the tools, trucks, and equipment you need fast. And Pro Extra benefits to keep your business growing. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Good morning, diarrhea.
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
It is the Pregame Show. Welcome in. Those of you just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. It is back to school week here in the Bay Area for many of you. College, high school, middle school, elementary school, preschool, whatever. Doesn't matter what age you are here joining in on the Pregame Show. Although it's 5 a.m., I'm hoping you're at least an adult. Maybe some of you are getting ready for a last-minute vacation. I know my school usually didn't start until the end of August, but what have you. I think we're going to Disneyland next month for the little guy's 4th birthday. I'm already dreading it. Any tips for that would be greatly appreciated. Last time I went to Disneyland, I think I was, 14, 13, like freshman year of high school. Yeah, that's about it. Never a huge Disneyland person. Just the fact that I have to wait in lines like an hour to go on a ride. Because they used to have this thing, which I don't think they have anymore, the Fast Pass, where I could just keep stacking them up and then just skip the entire lines. Like I could time it out where I can go on Pirates of the Caribbean, go on Indiana Jones, go on Space Mountain, and I could time it out, or it's just like all in sequence. Now, you can only have like one Fast Pass at a time, and the Fast Pass isn't even that fast. Miss me with that. But it's not about me. It's about the little guy. I'll be enjoying it through his eyes. As I digress here on the Pregame Show again, I am your host, Joe Spadoni, and for the next hour, we'll be discussing sports, amongst other things, like Disneyland. And to get involved in the show, it's easy. The number, 888-957-9570. That's to call or text. You can text the Xfinity mobile text line as well. You can also hit us up on Twitch and YouTube. We are streaming live each and every Monday through Friday right here on 95.7 The Game. Just search 95.7 The Game on Twitch and YouTube. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. And remember, that's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And also be sure to download that Odyssey app and take us wherever you need to go, all around the nation, all around the country, because we are international, Twitch and YouTube, but we love our national people too, our national audience, if you will. So download that bad boy for all of your Giants, 49ers, Warriors, and whatever you like to talk about. Politics, animals, fluffy little rabbits. I don't know what you like. Whatever. Hunting, rock and roll. I'm just spitballing here. I'm trying to promote this Xfinity app, this Odyssey app, if you will. I don't think I'm selling it. But as I digress here on the Pregame Show, there's lots to do, lots to discuss sports-wise, specifically the 49ers. And yeah, we could get into the Giants a little bit. Another shellacking yesterday, 10-2 at the hand of Killian Murphy, a.k.a. Tyler Glasnow. Calling him Scarecrow here. He's scary. First start since, a couple weeks? Didn't skip a beat, didn't miss a beat. As the Giants get absolutely hammered at home yesterday. As the Rays improved to 72-49, Giants fall to 63-56. They are fading fast. Season's not over yet. Called up one of their young guys, making his debut, Wade Meckler, Sounds like a made-up name. All due respect, Wade, if you're listening. But, hey, got on base. Give him that. Billy Bean special. Got a walk. I saw Evan Giddings, our own Evan Giddings, producer extraordinaire of Steiny and Guru, and who's been doing a hell of a job filling in the last week and a half or so for Steiny and Guru on their show. He tweeted out, he's like, bigger biceps, Yandy Diaz or Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever he said. I was like, guy's jacked. That whole Rays team is freaking loaded top to bottom. You got a Rosarena in there. You got Christian Bethencourt, A's legend. He's just all of a sudden hitting bombs into the night sky. He had 3 hits yesterday. And that's just how it's going for the Giants hitting right now and pitching. Just not working. Tristan Beck, 3 innings, 10 hits, 5 earned. Not going to get it done. Juxtapose that with Tyler Glasnow, again, Scarecrow. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, 3 walks. Not even his best outing, but he looked like damn near Cy Young against this team in this lineup. So, I don't know what's going to change here soon for the Giants. They're a streaky team. You'd expect a streaky team to actually win one of these days, but it just hasn't been happening. The big story, obviously, though, dominating the Bay Area. We can continue to take your calls and texts as it pertains to the Giants at 888-957-9570. It's the 49ers, specifically the quarterback conversation. And that's really been the story of the Bay Area, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, outside of the Warriors dynasty for the past 20 plus years. Who's going to be the quarterback? Who is it? You thought it was, Jeff Garcia. No, it just didn't quite work out. You thought, Alex Smith, we got our guy. Didn't quite work out. No. Colin Kaepernick. That's all right. This guy, Ron Jaworski on ESPN saying he could be the next best thing. He could be the best thing in the history of the NFL. I truly believe Colin Kaepernick could be the greatest quarterback ever. We all heard it. That was him. He faded. Injuries, Chip Kelly, taking a knee, all of that. He's gone. Okay, well, let's see what we got. CJ Beathard, Brian Horton, no. Jimmy Garoppolo, interesting. Okay, we're in a Super Bowl. No. Can't stay healthy. All right. It's time to really get focused here. Let's trade 3 first-round picks. One of them's a swap. And go get our guy. Let's go get Trey Lance and take him 3rd overall in a historic, some are saying the greatest quarterback class in the history of the NFL. You got Trevor Lawrence. You got Zach Wilson out of BYU. You got Justin Fields out of Ohio State. This kid Mac Jones? Yeah, he just had one of the greatest seasons ever. I get it. He has a loaded offense. But man, that guy's calm, cool, collected. He was throwing dimes to Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. And he had Jalen Waddle. He had all these guys. Okay. We're going to go get our guys. Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. How about that? Yeah, Alabama, Ohio State. BYU. I want our guy from North Dakota State. The guy that hasn't really played football in a year. But that's all right. It's all right. We just need him to stay healthy. He doesn't have to play this year. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. Then after this season, we'll see. Well, after this season, they did see. And what happened? Didn't work out. Got hurt. Rest is history. Still went to the NFC Championship game with Jimmy Garoppolo. But it is what it is. This whole thing going on in Santa Clara. And now they feel like they got their guy. Sorry to put a bow on that. Brock Purdy, after 3 starts, and I'm going to get into this article that Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, Monday Morning Quarterback, does a hell of a job. NFL insider, knows everything, everyone in the league as it pertains to the insiders, as it pertains to the execs, all that sort of stuff. He is in the know, Albert Breer. And do yourself a favor if you haven't read this article, because there are a lot of juicy details. I'll be reading a lot of quotes from it. And I came away kind of, I don't want to say shocked, but definitely surprised with how quickly Shanahan and Lynch believed that Brock Purdy was the dude. It took about 3 games, is what Shanahan said in this article. When asked about whether Purdy was San Francisco's starter and Garoppolo would have been his backup in the Super Bowl, quote, Kyle Shanahan said, that was never going to change. It took about 3 games for Shanahan to believe that his best option was the guy who started the year third string. And just as there was no question over whether Purdy would start the Super Bowl in that hypothetical, Shanahan left Philly pretty certain he had his guy for 2023. He's been the starter since last year ended, Shanahan says. He was always clearly our starter, but there were so many questions about his injury, how he'd come back from it, that we didn't even know if he'd be ready for us this year. So we had to prepare for everything else. I mean, Trey was the guy we gave the keys to last year. So we were definitely excited to have him in a situation. And we also didn't know if Brock would be back. So we needed someone to come in and at least compete with Trey and give us a chance because Trey was hurt last year. It just got cleared for before OTAs. That's why we brought Sam Darnold in here. And those guys have been competing their butts off. And I feel great playing with those guys. But like I told them, like I've said to the media, like I said to everyone since day one, based on what Brock did on tape last year, it's hard to beat that out in practice. And this last one's a doozy. Shanahan then says, quote, he would have to melt in practice to lose it. And Brock's too good of a player to melt in practice. So are the other guys. So it was never a conversation. Is what I'm trying to tell you guys. What Albert Breer, what Kyle Shanahan is trying to tell you. It was never going to be a competition. Ever. When he said, yeah, I feel good about 3 quarterbacks we have, and we'll see. You know, the leader in the clubhouse, that's Brock Purdy, but you know what? These other guys are pushing. Please. It's always been Brock. It's going to be Brock. And if you didn't know by now, Trey Lance's days are numbered here in Santa Clara. I don't care what he does in these next few preseason games. Congratulations. He'll be a backup. But he's never going to take over as starter full-time of this team. Not with the way Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch feel about him. No chance. See what John Lynch said in this article, by the way? So what he had to say, quote, this is not to say Brock's going to Canton, but Jimmy Johnson, you sit back and you listen to the speeches, and he presented Zach Thomas. And he goes, if you want to piss off Zach Thomas, call him an overachiever. He goes, because he wasn't the prototypical body and all that. People thought he was, but the guy's a damn good athlete and a damn good football player. And I think that's where we're at with Brock. He's done it in a small sample size, but every indication is he's the guy. He's got it. So we've gone from Shanahan saying he's the real deal to John Lynch saying he's got it. And Shanahan knew after 3 games. And this is my question to 49er fans this morning on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni at 888-957-9570. Are you as sold on Brock Purdy as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are? Are you as sold on Brock Purdy as your future quarterback as as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are? You sold on this guy? I mean, he's got it. He's the real deal. After 3 games, I knew it. I'm getting compared to Zach Thomas, Hall of Famer. After 8 games? Maybe I'm missing something here. I think you have to do more than play in 8 games to be the real deal. He may have it, as John Lynch alluded. He may have it. He played like a top 10 player and at times a top 5 quarterback last season. If he can replicate what he did last year for a full season, I have no problem saying he's the dude. I have no problem saying he's the guy for at least next year, few years. Absolutely. But I'm not here to sit here. I'm not here to tell you guys this is going to be the dude for the next 5 to 10 years. Well, we thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be that guy. I just laid out the list of quarterbacks. How many guys have been the real deal for the 49ers the last 2 decades? Jeff Garcia was a Pro Bowler. He's very good. Jimmy Garoppolo, a couple NFC championships, a Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick, a Super Bowl. Goal line stand away from winning it. And now, Brock Purdy. Is he the real deal? Are you comfortable with your GM comparing him to future Hall of Famers? Because that's what he's doing. Listen, he absolutely can shut up a lot of people this year and prove us wrong. And they're just prove the doubters wrong. I'm not doubting his ability because I saw it last year. I am cautiously optimistic. And I think that's what a lot of 49ers fans are. Cautiously optimistic about Brock Purdy heading into next season. And they should be. Because time in and time out, the quarterback position under Kyle Shanahan has gotten hurt. Whoever it is. Mullins, Beathard, Hoyer, Jimmy, Trey, Brock. One time, they've had a quarterback from start to finish in the season. They went to the Super Bowl. That was 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo. Can I see it again before I dub this the next best thing since sliced bread? Before we're getting comps to Zach Thomas, before I have callers calling in comparing him to Joe Montana, comparing him to Drew Brees, Dan Marino. Like come on. Really? I just feel like with some of these quotes, we're setting up this kid to fail next season. The comparisons are getting a little out of control. I think we need to temper the expectations a little bit. Maybe he will be a Hall of Famer, but can he just hit some milestones before we have those conversations? Can he start and play 17 games? Can he do that? Can he get to a Super Bowl? Can he do all these things before we're getting the Zach Thomas comp? Who, by the way, was the best linebacker in the NFL for a good 4 to 5 year stretch? I get it. Ray Lewis is Brian Urlacher. Zach Thomas was in that conversation. They're all Hall of Famers. So are you 49er fans, or hell, don't have to be a 49er fan. It's an NFL fan. Talking to everyone here in the Bay Area at 5:17 a.m. on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. Good morning to all of you. We're just waking up. We're talking 49ers. We're talking Brock Purdy. We're talking this article from Albert Breer in Sports Illustrated where he got some great quotes from Kyle Shanahan, great quotes from John Lynch. And it just makes me feel even more strongly than I did yesterday that Trey Lance is done here in Santa Clara. And it's unfortunate. Injuries happen. It's a bad look. It's a bad, trade. Maybe one of the worst in NFL history. That's what Marcus Spears thinks. And this is via Get Up on ESPN yesterday. Marcus Spears, former NFL player, NFL insider for ESPN, talking about the Lance trade going down as one of the worst ever.
Look, they got a terrible situation on their hands with this Trey Lance.
There we go.
Look, they got a terrible situation on their hands with this Trey Lance. And Dan and I talked about this. This may go down as one of the worst trades in the draft in the history of the NFL. The fortunate part is Kyle Shanahan has done such a phenomenal job of getting this team ready to play and being so creative offensively that it hasn't shown in the win-loss column. But you lost a lot by going up and get Trey Lance. And Dan and I sat there, and RC as well. We sat there during the draft and was like, why wouldn't you take Justin Fields? Like, why wouldn't you have Justin Fields in this situation after we saw Zach Wilson go? Some of us even thought that Justin Fields should go beyond Zach Wilson.
That was Marcus Spears there. Could go down as the worst trade in NFL draft history. I don't think he's wrong. And that's not to say that Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat. No, because he found Brock Purdy. But the problem is, and I've seen it from a lot of people chiming in on this topic that are in the know, It's great if you hit on Brock Purdy and he's the guy and your starter for the next handful of years, at least. That's great. Because they're in the window right now to try and win. Kyle Juszczyk may disagree. He thinks that, hey, as long as you got Kyle Shanahan, the window's always open. That may be true. That's true if you have Brock Purdy end up being a Hall of Famer, because that's true for guys like Tom Brady in years past, Aaron Rodgers, the elite of the elite, the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrow, the Josh Allen. You always have a chance to be in the Super Bowl conversation when you have the head coach and quarterback. But the depth is where it's going to be tested. And that was the big conversation and talking point around the station yesterday in the preseason shellacking in Las Vegas was the depth, specifically that offensive line. That's where the Trey Lance trade comes up and bites you in the ass. Whiffing on that. Because you could have had another couple first rounders to shore up the offensive line or the secondary or the offense or the defensive front, what have you. So that's where it really ends up hurting you. Trey may be great somewhere else, maybe. But for the 49ers, they crapped out on this pick. Going back to Vegas, using a Vegas term. Feels like they crapped out on it. Not saying Trey Lance is done. I'm saying the 49ers are done with Trey Lance. 888-957-9570. That's the number. Speaking of Trey, Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media yesterday and had this to say about his performance in preseason game 1.
I thought he played a lot better as it ended. He came out, first play was tough. The corner just keyed his 3-step drop and sat on it and did the right thing. He reset to go to the tight end over the ball, but we had a bust. One of our eligibles busted on the play and put 2 guys in the same spot. So he had to protect the ball and take a sack there. Another sack on the 3rd and 8 wasn't his fault. We kind of had a jailbreak on it, but the 2 ones after that, I thought he could have gotten rid of it a little before the sack. And a couple things, he just hesitated on a hair early in the game. But as it went, I think he made a huge 3rd down on the 3rd and 8. I think it was to Conley. Made a very decisive 1 and 2 minute that got us down there to Troy and ended up doing some good things. I wish we would have converted that short yardage and kept him out there a little bit longer, but that's some of the frustrating things about preseason.
So decisiveness, not being hesitant, just be aggressive. That's what Kyle Shanahan wants to see Trey Lance do. And that was what was so disappointing, I think, for a lot of people that wanted Trey to succeed on Sunday. A lot of 49er fans like, come on, show us something. That was a massive game for him. And he failed. It's massive. So much so, I think Sam Darnold's going to be the QB2 now. Now, it could change next week. But if Trey Lance wanted some positive momentum heading into this regular season, he's going to need to show out. And he needs to be flawless, as Bonte Hill said yesterday in the Morning Roast. These next 2 games. He needs to be flawless. Here's more from Shanahan speaking on the media conference call yesterday, talking about Trey Lance's hesitation.
It could be. Yeah, I've had guys who've had reps in a lot of games that come out and are hesitant at times too. I mean, that's also the hard thing about preseason. You don't get to play a whole game to work through those things. And there's a number of times last year that any quarterback we played with comes down there a little hesitant early. And I think he had a couple of those and a couple bad sacks, and our offense didn't get going, and kind of builds up. And I was glad that he was able to fight through that and make some plays there at the end. And I wish he could have stayed out longer, but we stuck with our plan and made sure not to panic and make any bad decisions for him.
Hesitation, not being aggressive enough. Listen, these are all products of not playing. That's just the reality. And the reality is setting in, I think, for a lot of 49er fans, at least for me. And listen, he's not going to get the opportunities. Maybe he will. Maybe Brock will go down this year. Listen, you know me on the pregame show. This offensive line, the history under Kyle Shanahan, I do believe there will be opportunities, but not to be the starter on this team. The way that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have spoken about Brock Purdy in this Albert Breer piece, again, if you haven't read it, I urge you to. Albert Breer, Monday Morning Quarterback, Sports Illustrated, a deep dive on the 49ers' belief in Brock Purdy. Some just great quotes from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch on this. And Tony in San Leandro wants to weigh in Tony, you're on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? I listen all the time in the morning time, and I hear you, and you're an up and comer, dog.
I appreciate you.
I kind of wanted to do. It's funny. I got you to talk to because you're a good historian about just Niner quarterback injuries. It says like, well, Trey Lance. No, remember back in the day, Montana. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it. With Jim Burke knocked the crap out of him, and then Steve Young. I think that says itself. Garcia kind of faded away. Kaepernick was kneeling down. Now we got Purdy and Lance and stuff. I don't know. I mean, my point is, I don't want to blame it on Shanahan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a history, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Tony, appreciate you calling in this morning, man. Tony and St. Leandro, a little bit of Macho Man there. And we're up against it, Tony, so I did have to cut you off there a little bit early. But it's definitely a concern. I'm not saying it's completely on Shanahan, but the facts are the facts. Only 1 year as a quarterback started every single game for him. That's Jimmy Garoppolo in 2019. They got to the Super Bowl. That's great. Outside of that, Beathard, Mullins, Trey Lance, hurt again. Back to Jimmy, hurt again. Brock Purdy, come on down. Like, there's going to be opportunities for Trey Lance and Sam Darnold potentially this year. I believe that to be true. If you had to put on the over or under amount of starts at 1.5 for Sam Darnold, I might take the over. I might, if the value's there. But I just don't think, and the conversation was, if Brock gets hurt, is he ever going to, could he lose his job? If Trey Lance plays so well, could Brock Purdy lose his job? From what I read from this article, no chance. No chance. I mean, if it's a season-ending injury for Brock Purdy, again, yeah, you'll have an entire year to showcase your talent. But if it's for 2 to 3 games and Trey still plays well, they're going back to Brock. They're not sticking with Trey anymore. I think that's the message that came out loud and clear in this article. We'll continue to break it down. Can you take your calls, your text, Twitch, YouTube, all of you? Good morning to all of you lovely, lovely people. And it's powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We got quick break. Come on back. 888-957-9570. Are you as sold on Brock Purdy as the guy for the 49ers as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are? That's the question I have for you this morning. 888-957-9570. It's the pregame show at Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Come on back.
Pregame.
What's the difference between Trey and Brock? A whole damn lot. So says Kyle Shanahan. John Lynch to Albert Breer, Sports Illustrated. Brock's the guy. He's got it. So John Lynch said. Kyle Shanahan, Brock's the real deal. I knew that after 3 games. Is that how long it took you, 49er fans, at 888-957-9570? It's the pregame show with Joe Spadoni. We're talking quarterbacks. We're talking worst trades in NFL history. We're going to get into one of the crazier things I saw yesterday. See what went down? See what Michael Orr had to say? You know Michael Orr. His whole life was basically in a movie, an Academy Award-winning movie, The Blind Side. Well, Michael Orr, and for those of you who don't know the movie, it's basically Michael Orr, this young kid needing help, doesn't have family. Well, he has family. They kind of, his mom is not there with him. He's homeless. He needs help. He's very large, big lineman guy. He's played football. He's like, oh, there's a family down and over in Mississippi or wherever they're from, in the South. The Tuohys, Ann and Sean, take him in. He eventually goes to play Ole Miss, gets drafted, wins a Super Bowl. But his whole early life is chronicled in the movie The Blind Side, starring Sandra Bullock, who won an Academy Award for it. And now, Michael Orr, in an article that was posted to ESPN yesterday, says it's all a lie. Quote, the lie of Michael's adoption is one upon which co-conservators Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy have enriched themselves at the expense of their ward, the undersigned Michael Orr. Michael Orr discovered this lie to his chagrin and embarrassment in February of 2023 when he learned that the conservatorship to which he consented on the basis that doing so would make him a member of the Tuohy family, in fact provided him, I should say, no familial relationship with the Tuohys. Wow. So not only did he feel like he was actually, becoming a part of these people's family, he actually thought that they loved him. But clearly they were just in it for the money. To exploit him as an NFL player, as an NFL talent at a young age. And that really sucks. That's cruel. It's heartless. And shame on that entire family. And I hope they get exposed for the frauds that they are. Good on you, Michael, for going out. And I'm sorry you had to deal with this. That really sucks. Thinking that the family that brought you in actually loved you and cared for you. And they were just in it for the money. Which unfortunately is all too well known in this society, in this world that we live in. And you thought it was a Disney kind of an ending. Well, there's a reason Disney endings don't usually happen. And that the grim fairy tales in which Disney was based on actually had horrible endings. They were really bad. But Disney made them seem like they were all nice and cuddly and cozy. That's not the situation here, as Michael Orr is going at Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask Sandra Bullock to also return her Oscar. It's only fair. If Reggie Bush had to return his Heisman, all right, Sandra's got to return the Oscar. It's only fair. It's only fair. So, had to get into that. One of the more crazier things I saw. The whole movie kind of made me uncomfortable anyways. I remember watching it back in what was that, 2010, 2000, whatever it was. There was this kind of, I don't know, white savior kind of a thing going on there with Michael Orr and we bringing him in. Oh, we're doing so right by him. And Michael Orr goes on to say in this, he's like, yeah, they portrayed me as a guy who was stupid and that I needed all this help and comfort and extra care with all this stuff. He's like, I wasn't dumb. I was poor. He's like, I knew how to play football. They also didn't think I knew how to play football in the movie. That's what they portrayed. So the whole thing, the movie didn't even get it right. But again, made a lot of money. Went into the pockets of Leanne Toohey and Sean Toohey, not into Michael's. And you know the whole movie is based on Michael. Just ridiculous. Good morning to all of you on Twitch and YouTube, which again is powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. And also be sure to hit me up on the Xfinity mobile text line. 888-957-9570 is the number. 925. That story always seems suspect to me. Very much so. And it is, as we have now found out and learned. Just shame on those people taking advantage of someone that was all they were looking for was compassion and love. And I'm sure in the movie, I'm almost positive they did. They had a big religious aspect to it. Huh. Nothing more religious than saying, come on over. I'll love you. If I can make a few bucks off of you. Please. The hypocrisy at an all-time high. God, just drives me nuts. We'll get back into the 49ers here as, well, Brock Purdy, speaking to saviors, is he going to be the savior for the 49ers? Because that's what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch feel. He's the guy. He's got it. For just joining us, here's just some of the quotes from Albert Breer's article. NFL Insider for Sports Illustrated was down at 49ers camp and got to talk to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, the head coach and general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, about Brock Purdy's success. And some of the quotes here, Kyle Shanahan, hey, took me 3 games to realize this is the dude. He's the real deal. John Lynch, he's done it in a small sample size, but every indication is he's the guy. He's got it. Are you as confident, 49er fans, in Brock Purdy being the guy as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are? That's my question this morning. 888-957-9570. Because I need to see it the entire season before I'm saying any of this. Hell, just as a fan, I'm skeptical. I need to see, hey, do it again. Because it's just ingrained in fans' DNA. For most fans, hell, if you're a Patriots fan, maybe not. If you're now a Chiefs fan, Bengals, you know you got your guy. Barring injury, you got your guy. You've seen it on the big stage. 49er fans, they've thought they've got their guy since Steve Young multiple times. I've already gone through the list. Tony and San Leandro, he called. May or may not have been Macho Man Randy Savage calling from the grave. But we went through the list. Garcia, Smith, Sean Hill, JT O'Sullivan, Beathard, Mullins, Kaepernick, Garoppolo, Lance, now Purdy. Is Purdy finally going to be it? God, we've been asking the question for so damn long. Can you just show it to me for a whole season before I crown this guy as the next Zach Thomas, Drew Brees, whatever comeback story? Just the expectations for this kid. I hope he lives up to them. I truly do. Because if he doesn't, which I don't think is a hot take to say right now that he cannot live up to the Drew Brees and Tom Brady comps that he's getting, we'll find out. I cannot wait for football season. It's officially here. Preseason be damned. We're going to take a quick break. Come on back and get Joe Shasky's thoughts on all of this. I'll get Joe Shasky's thoughts on the Michael Orr situation. All that coming up next here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Watch parties aren't what they used to be.
Welcome to today's matinee.
Ever since we got Xfinity, my little sister and her friends can easily stream all their favorite stuff.
We'll start with 2 episodes of Top Chef, then Chopped.
When I was a kid, we'd worry about buffering. Now they just worry about what's on the charcuterie board.
Enjoy these fine meats.
was a hot night in August. Humid. It's one of the all-time lines. Mac Trey on a Tuesday here in the Bay. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni. We're talking Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, 49ers, Michael Orr saying the blind side. Yeah, that was BS. Yeah, I didn't get any money from it. My parents that I thought adopted me. Not really. Good morning, Dante Wiley. Mark Failer. Appreciate you, Marky Mark. Dublin Marge. Grunge91, Dwayne Baker. Chiming in on the Twitch and YouTube chats. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. Also hit us up at 888-957-9570. Xfinity Mobile text line, always open. Spaghetti. Yes, sir. Duke and SF. Is he coming this week, Sammy? Friday? Duke? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs middle? Okay. What are we going? Joaquin Phoenix there and Gladiator. Commodus. One of the all-time villains. Dante, the best mustache. Spadoni has the best mustache at the station. I think I'm the only mustache at the station. Stephen Langford, formerly of the pregame show. He likes to come down here occasionally. He's over at KCBS now, but he came down yesterday. I was like, Steve, why don't you ever grow out the mustache? You kind of look like a little Aiden Hutchinson there. He's like, I cannot do that. He's like, I tried once and it looked horrible. Now I'm trying to picture Stephen Langford just in the mustache. And actually, yeah, he's right. It would probably be horrible. 888-957-9570. Little Giants should have won an Oscar, not The Blind Side. You know what? I agree. Sandra's got to give it back. All right? If Reggie Bush had to give away his Heisman, Sandra Bullock's got to give away the Oscar. It's fake news. The Blind Side. Double Martin says, there's always two sides to every story, Spadoni. Let's just get the facts straight and get back to us. Now, I know what happened here. I'm 1,000% believing in Michael Orr when he says this adoption was phony and this conservatorship was also phony and that he got no dollar bills from The Blind Side that grossed, I'm sure, not hundreds of millions, but definitely 50s of millions, whatever it is. As Joe Shasky's joining me now for the crossover here on the pregame show, as he does each and every Monday through Friday at 5:45. Joe Shasky, how you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
You look a little like...
I'm a little like late on everything today.
Okay, that's all right. It's Tuesdays suck.
When you
I'll
wake
just say
up,
it. Tuesdays suck.
It's not even
worst,
that.
It's the worst day of the week.
The little
dog. Oh, no.
Little dog's got some stomach issues.
It ate something it wasn't supposed to?
It's been like 3 straight days.
Okay.
And my wife thinks that cottage cheese is some like catch-all, save-all for like their stomach. And I'm like...
Probiotics. There you go.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah, okay.
I wake up and I literally have my like light on my phone because I don't want to like wake up the whole room, because then when I wake up the whole room, then I'm in more trouble.
Yeah.
And so I'm like tiptoeing to not step on what I think might be dog stuff. And I hit the hallway and I'm like, all right, plant the feet, keep walking.
Oh, no. And it's the worst. Were you wearing socks, too?
No.
Okay, that's good, because there's nothing worse than stepping on something wet while you're wearing socks, because it's happened many a times in the Spadoni household, whether it's cat, whether it's dog, you know what. Hell, it might be little kid, you know what. So it's a big mess. It's all right. We're moved past it. Speaking of messes.
The entire Wander Franco situation?
Well, I didn't even mention that, but my God, you're right.
I mean,
I was going to say,
by the way,
messes at the plate for the Giants, messes in the Rays organization, messes with the Tuies over at the Blind Side.
Who's honest to God?
Who's shocked by that?
No, who's mad at the Giants at this point?
Oh.
Did you see the lineup they trotted out yesterday?
Hey, our guy made his debut.
Meckler? Is he my size?
That's not a real name, by the way. Wade Meckler. Come on.
Well,
we're making players up at this point.
No.
All due respect. Come on.
Respect him. And the outfit, the all black shoes, the glasses, everything was great.
Whoa.
Wait, a creative player.
Before we get into the Giants, we're bearing the lead here.
What's that?
You were on Patrick Bailey's hype video, Joe Shasky. I mean, come on.
I totally forgot about that.
Hold on. Where's my DJ Arns? Joe Shasky, as Patrick Bailey joined social media, Joe Shasky was in the hype video. Let's go. Now, did you screenshot it before the opening and take it down because you're not 105? Did you screenshot the video? Did you screen record it? Okay.
I did. You know, it was so. For those that don't know, it's not even that big of a deal. I sound like well, it is. You know what? No.
No, toot your horn.
It is a big deal. Like, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people get these opportunities, these platforms. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying a lot of people in general. And I don't think they really truly appreciate, like, what we get to do. I mean, I'm serious. Dude, I grew up being the biggest Giants, Niner, Warrior fan that you could possibly be. Right? And I'll always be that, even though it drives me nuts sometimes just dealing with people when it comes to these teams. Like, right now, I think being a Niner fan, I'm like kind of blown away. Like, there are so many team this, team that, as in like within the fabric of the Niners, there's all these little segmentations. It's the same thing happened with the Warriors. And that part kind of drives me nuts.
Player standing.
Yes. And like, but then you get an opportunity where like, I'm really encouraged by this Patrick Bailey kid. Now, no one thinks he's going to be the next Buster Posey. Buster Posey is one of the greatest players of all time.
Probably a future Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Yeah, right? So, like, but Patrick Bailey's exciting and he's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Now, do I want him batting cleanup? Not yet.
No, definitely not. But when you got Jock Peterson out there, you got the Confortos of the world, the Estradas, Sable. It's actually kind of crazy that two of the best young players are both catchers for the Giants this season, Blake Sable and Patrick Bailey.
And Sable, I mean, catcher's a loose term. He's more of like
a
hitter who they put a glove on and say, go play a field. I didn't know he was related to Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, that's like his uncle, right?
It's crazy.
It's wild. Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah. He used to, there's, I think Polamalu's sister or something. I might be messing this up. I used to babysit him or something when he was a kid. But, 10-2 wasn't nice yesterday. Well, Tyler Glass now, a.k.a. Scarecrow, as I call him. He looks like Killian Murphy, obviously. He wouldn't even look that great, and he still balled against that lineup.
I think he's very overrated. Just in general, like, he's a very good player.
I didn't realize he was like 6'8".
Yeah,
I didn't realize how massive he is.
Well, he's a very good player, but like, I don't know. It's just there's something about the super tall guys that only throw as hard as they possibly can and are still not hitting a hundo. Like, I always look at those guys as like fake tough guys.
Fake tough guys.
That's just me. That's just me.
Well, that's just not his game. He's also had a lot of injuries, too.
No doubt.
Like, that's another thing.
No doubt. He's very good. Yes. I don't want to make it out like he's not very good. He is very good. Yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, I could come up with a 5-man rotation in the AL, and he's not in it.
Probably not. No.
But that's also not a knock on him.
Well, no, that's just how stacked the AL is. Yes.
Exactly.
But then, well, in the Rays, they're thinking, hey, like at the beginning of this season, man, we got Glasnow coming back. Listen, he could be like our third best player. We got Baz, we got McClanahan, we got all these guys. Baz hurt, McClanahan, like, the wheels aren't falling off the Rays. They have 72 wins. I'm not saying that.
How much fun are they?
They're so fun. Like Christian Bethencourt, A's legend, by the way, hitting ropes into left field last night.
Did you see the first inning? So, like, the sun's like coming in behind the pitcher, and it's hard to see when they have certain.
It was toasty last night.
It was. Well, not near my house, but yes. Uniquely near the ballpark.
Humid.
And like a Rosarania like hops out of the box on a 3-1 pitch, and Walker just throws it like off the side. I'm like, dog, throw it right down the middle.
Yeah.
He just stepped out and like gets a walk. He's like, I don't know. That whole team is all swagged out. They get a base hit, and the ball's still in play, and they're doing what my 12U team does. They're like hitting bow and arrows to the dugout, and I'm like, dude, this is the all-time swag team. They took like a grand total of what felt like 4 pitches last night. They were on auto swing. It was me playing MLB The Show.
Hey, and honestly, I like that approach, especially going up against a bullpen type of lineup. Be aggressive. Like, that's what he's... Tristan Beck, God bless him. 3 innings, 10 hits, 5 earns.
Can I defend him?
Come on.
No, can I defend him? You explain to me. You ever heard of like elevator pitch? Like, elevator, sell me this phone.
Yes.
Explain to me. And
Jordan Belfort, sell me this pen.
I would dare Kapler and even Gabe Kapler. And Kapler's put in a bad position because this is on the front office. What is the role for Tristan Beck? I'm not even defending like he's an elite player. He's not. I think he's solid.
He is pitcher X. I don't know what he is. He's pitcher X.
This guy started his entire career. Okay? And then he comes up, and it's like, you're the bridge to the middle inning, slight early part of the game, maybe get it to Manaea guy. Like, what?
Well, you guys are going to be talking to Dave Fleming today at 8 o'clock. I assume it's 8 because it's 8 every other week. Bat Boy, Dave Fleming, Joe Shasky.
I got a lot of people saying that I looked like Dave Fleming.
What?
Yeah, just people were tweeting at me. All kinds of people that are on our YouTube chat were on Twitter hitting me up. I think Mark Graves was one of them. If I forget who else tweeted at me, I apologize. But they're saying that I looked like Fleming, and I'm like, I don't think I look like Fleming.
No, I don't think. Yeah, you don't look like Dave Fleming at all. Like, you guys, Dave's no.
He had a great trot.
He did.
Great trot.
It was
going.
really funny.
I mean, a great
For
trot.
those of you who don't know, Dave Fleming, obviously voiced the Giants, NBC Sports Bay Area, R95.7 The Game insider. He lost a bet in fantasy football, finishing last place, and had to be the bat boy. That's a lot better than some of the last place things I've seen for a lot of fantasy football losers. I've never personally gotten last in any of my fantasy leagues,
Really?
baseball or football. That's kind of a claim to fame. Not really, but I just never gotten last. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten last
No,
place.
but we never also do anything like weird stuff,
Yeah,
like
neither
do
do
crazy
we.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Real quick, talking about the 49ers, Albert Breer had a fantastic piece in Sports Illustrated. Insider for Sports Illustrated, obviously Albert Breer knows everything, the ins and outs of the league. Brock Purdy, he's the real deal. He's got it. That's what John Lynch said. He's done it in a small sample size, but every indication is he's the guy. It took Kyle Shanahan 3 games to know that he's the dude. 3. And he's getting comps to Zach Thomas, Hall of Famer.
I don't blame everybody for being excited. I really don't. But like,
can he play a full season
no,
first?
but just didn't we learn this with Trey Lance? Like when you hype one individual up, and like what Purdy's done is significantly more comprehensive than what Trey Lance has done. But my point being,
plays
is
in
that,
8 games.
Like you don't have to hype me on Fred Warner. Like it kind of just speaks for itself.
Yes.
You don't have to hype me, and they do now, like years later. You don't have to hype me on Nick Bosa or on George Kittle. Like those guys' play speaks for itself, especially given the quarterback situation, given what he's up against in terms of the physical like limitations. I'm talking about the elbow, like right. Just less is more.
Yes.
You don't like. We all know who he is in terms of what he played last year, but like you're setting him up for more unrealistic expectations, and we just did this with Trey Lance, and he fell on his face. Now, obviously, Brock has put together a resume way better at this point than Trey Lance, but guys, come on. I honestly now feel like we got to pump the brakes a little, and I love Brock, and I'm excited for Brock. I want to win the Super Bowl. But if I told Niner fans, hey, you might get half a dozen starts from Sam Darnold, I think a lot of people are like, nah, I could see that.
Speaking of surpassing unrealistic expectations, it's the Morning Roast next, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always.